Welcome to the first in our fall webinar series. My name is Maria Robinson and I'm a consultant here at Eloquent Systems. Today we'll be talking about the Eloquent Spreadsheet web form, available as part of our suite of knowledge management applications. Some of you may already be using this batch input form, and to some of you it might be new. If you don't have a newer version of Eloquent, you might not have access to some of these features. If this is the case, give us a call after the presentation to discuss some configuration changes we can make for you. But either way, I hope to expose you to some functionality you don't yet know about. Let me tell you how this is going to make your lives easier. Eloquent Spreadsheet is designed for the rapid entry of many records at once. It's efficient and it saves you time. Instead of rewriting the same information dozens of times, you get to enter it once and let the system do the copying for you. It also allows you to make bulk or global changes to several items at once. So let's review the form. There's no need to look too closely at the screenshot in front of you. The details aren't important, just the main sections, because all batch input screens pretty much look and operate the same across functions and across softwares, whether you're inputting accessions or files or serials, whether you're working in Eloquent Librarian, Museum, Archives, or Records. The first section you're going to find at the top is the functions area. Not all of them are visible here, but I'm going to go through them anyway. Search for existing records to edit. You can delete selected records. You can save all rows with a single click. This one's not here. Read back saved records for review or further edits. You can also clone records. And you can send a batch of records to the single web form for additional data entry. Next is the common area. Here are additional fields above the spreadsheet that hold data that's common to every record in the spreadsheet. When you press save, these values are added to each record in the rows below. Any number of prompts can be here. We can configure that for you. And the prompts in the common area can also be used as search parameters when you're finding existing records to edit. And then we have the main spreadsheet area. Each row here represents a record, and each column represents a data element. Columns can be added or removed per your institution's needs. And there's a couple of tricks you can do on here too. One is a quick repeat of values down a column. The other is an easy increment of numeric values down a column. The number of rows defaults at 20, but that can grow as needed. You can also attach digital content using the Browse button or the Multiple button to add one or many photos at the same time. Multiple records are saved to the server with a single click with this form. That's the beauty of it. So Eloquent Spreadsheet can be used in a couple of different ways. One is to establish a hierarchy for entering multiple folders into a box, for example, or multiple issues under a journal title, or multiple secondary classifications under a primary classification. The form can also be used to make global changes to any set of objects, such as changing the upper level folder of several files, or changing their physical location, status, dates, or classifications. So there are several ways to get information into this form. One of them is just to enter the data manually, field by field. Or, if you already have a list in Excel, say a list of boxes from a donor, or an inventory of folders or artifacts or anything else, you can import them directly into the spreadsheet. Just click Excel Import, and the steps are easy. Identify the Excel spreadsheet on your computer, map the Excel columns to the Eloquent columns, and import your data into Eloquent. Make sure to validate that data, and if any of the details are missing, please fill them in here. Most importantly, hit Save afterwards to ensure that your data gets saved into the database. Just because your data is filled in on the spreadsheet on the screen doesn't mean it's actually saved until you click Save. Now let's say you have some digital objects, like photographs, electronic documents, videos, or even audio files saved somewhere on your computer. You can use the web form to load all of them at once. The first step is to click that Multiple button. Identify the digital objects on your computer and select them. Upload them to Eloquent, and you'll see that these files are automatically populated onto the form, and you need to complete the rest of the metadata fields. And then you click Save, and they're saved to the database. So let's turn back to those global function buttons across the top of the screen. After you hit save on any of these forms, you'll notice that your data clears from the screen, but you can easily retrieve it back. One option is to click read. This brings all that data back into the form, and you can now review it, make edits, or clone it. Cloning is great when you have a set of items with the same or similar names that need to be saved to different higher level containers. A good example is if you have multiple issues for different volumes, or the same folders need to be created for every year. Or, for another example, you have the same shelf locations but on multiple aisles. Cloning duplicates the data that you have already entered and allows you to make minor changes before saving it back as a new set of records. The other button that appears at the top of the screen after you save a batch of records is Single. This will let you take all those records you've just entered and transfer them to the single entry web form where you have access to the full range of descriptive fields. It can be a useful time-saving technique to enter the skeleton data here on the spreadsheet web form, then switch to the single entry forms to fill in those straggler fields with more unique information. We can help you modify any of these forms to show the fields that you want to see and the ones that you use most often, and to, of course, get rid of the ones that you're not using. So let's try this live. I'm going to show you a couple of demos here. I won't be able to cover all the possible examples, but there will be a variety, and even if an example isn't immediately relevant to you, the idea is still the same across the systems. So I'm going to start in the archive system. The first thing I'm going to do is enter a series of folders for a particular series. So I'm going to click on Enter Edit Folder Lists. The first thing I'm going to do is find the series that I want to save these under. So I'm going to type in the uppermost level of this collection, work my way down, and select that series. My series is now populated in the Forms Part Of field. My next step is to enter the folder titles. All of these are actually pretty much titled the same. They're all going to be correspondence A through D, correspondence E through M, and so on. But I don't really want to type correspondence in 4 times, so I'm going to type it in once. And I'm going to go down to the 4th row, hit the equals sign, and hit return, and it's automatically populated through those 4 rows already for me. So all I need to do now is add in the details. For example, A through E, F through M, N through P, and Q through Z. The dates in this case are all pretty much the same as well. I'm going to use that same trick. Of course, one of them is different, so I can go back and change that. There's nothing that says you can't go back and edit anything you've just done. And the numbers. So the number for these folders are going to be 1 through 4. Again, I don't have to type in 1 through 4. I can do a shortcut. I type in equals and +1. It means I'm going to increment by 1 all the way down. You could increment by 2 or 3 or 10, whatever you need to do. So now I'm ready to go. I have my upper level series up here. I have all of my folder names and dates and numbers down here. I'm going to click Save. Now you'll notice that everything has cleared from the screen, but remember that I had 2 options. I can either read all of those files back onto the screen and to either review them or to edit them, or I can press Single. By pressing Single, it's going to bring up those 4 records I just entered into 4 separate single entry web forms. You'll see up here I have displaying 1 of 4. I can use the arrow buttons to move through them. If I need to make any changes in here, I can type in my scope and content. And when I press Save, it automatically moves me up to the next file. See, now I'm on 2 of 4. If we come back to this form, I'm going to press Read for you so you can see how that works. You can see it brings those 4 back onto the form, and I'm actually going to delete them now because this is a demo, but it's also good for you to see how this works. I select them all, I press OK, I confirm, and we're done. Let's see a different example now. I'm going to use the Enter Edit Physical Items. The idea here is that I have a sample accession of a number of boxes. I have already entered my accession into the system, but I have a bunch of boxes already in an Excel spreadsheet. I don't really want to retype all of that, so I'm going to use the Excel import button to bring them into the system. So let's find my accession first, here in the common area. It's found. And now I'm going to click Excel Import. I need to browse for that document. There it is. And load it. So what you have now in front of you is the mapping. This is this middle column are the Eloquent data fields. The right column are your Excel data fields. And over here on the right is just a preview of your Excel form, so you don't have to go back and double check to see what everything is. I'm just going to match up type with container type, but it's automatically figured out the other mappings for me. I'm going to press go, and all of that is into the system. Sorry, it's not into the system, it's into the spreadsheet. It's not in the system until I hit save. But you'll notice that location is highlighted in yellow. This means that this particular field is a lookup field. There's another table that has all of this location information in it, so I need to make that final connection between my data and the table's data. To do that, I click Find. It finds it. I select it and move on. I do that all the way down the list, and I'm done. When I hit Save, this is saved in. This is a demo, so I'm just going to back out of here. So let's move into the record system and see a couple of examples there. The first thing I'm going to do here is file a number of documents. The documents that I have today are a bunch of images that my company took on our recent picnic this summer. So the first thing I need to do here is find the folder that I'm going to put them all in. There's my folder. Fun in the Park. I'm going to select that and take it. So now I need to upload my images. I'm going to click the multiple button because they're all sitting in the same folder, so it's going to be a lot easier for me to bring them in all at once rather than doing them one at a time. Let's upload them. There we go. You see the file is here, and if I click on this icon, it gives me a preview of that image. So now I can go ahead and give them all a name. And when I'm done with this, I can click Save, and these get saved into the system as new documents in the folder Sunshine Fun in the Park. The last thing I want to show you are creating virtual folders in the record system. What I'm going to show you in this example is cloning. So the idea here is that I've already created a set of folders for meeting minutes. These were from the open meeting minutes, but there were also a number of in-camera meetings for these same committees. So I need to create folders for those as well. But I can just copy them because I've already done it for the open meeting minutes. So let's go ahead and find the open ones. I'm going to type in the classification, and I'm going to type in the department. I'm going to press search, and here are my open meeting minute folders. Select them all and click take, and now they're in the system. Or sorry, now they're in front of me in the spreadsheet. So what I have in front of me in the spreadsheet are records that are already in the system. But like I said, I want to copy these into the closed meeting folder. So I'm going to find a new classification for the closed meetings. I'm going to verify that these are existing records and I do want to clone them. And when I press save, 4 new folders are going to be created under the in-camera classification for my meetings. Those were all the examples I wanted to show you, but just to give you some other ideas of what you can do with this, in the library system, you can use the batch form to create extra copies of the same book, or create issues under a volume or a number of volumes under a journal title. Under museum, you can create multiple artifact components under an artifact. And for any of these, you can also do authorities and classification schemes in batch. So let's do a final review. So this is the form again in front of you. The first thing we have on top is that functions area. This is where you're going to find things like searching, deleting, saving, reading back for further review and edit, or sending those records into the single forms for additional data entry. Then we have the common area. This is where you find those fields that hold data that is common to every record in the spreadsheet, because when you press save, these values are added to each record in the rows below. Again, there can be any number of prompts here. It's very configurable, and these prompts can also be used as search parameters. And then, of course, the spreadsheet area, the most important one. Every one of these rows is a record. Every column is a data element. We can add and remove these columns per your institution's needs. You can also attach digital content one at a time, or with using the multiple button. So that is the magic of the Eloquent Spreadsheet. If you have any questions, please give me a call or an email. We'd be happy to hear from you anytime. Thank you.